Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Hello, hello. Hi, Simi. Hi, Karen. Hello. It is still early. We don't have many people that are joining. Hi, Simi. Where do you know us from?
Hi, I live in New Jersey.
Okay. And where have you seen this live? In the group? Are you in the Facebook group?
Yes, I'm in the Facebook group and I got tagged and I was like, you know what? I think it's a good day to go on. So I'm here.
Oh,
How are you? How are you doing? Are you in Israel?
yes. I'm in Israel, and this is our second support meetup. We had one last Sunday, and now we had a few people that registered, but right now it's only us, but that's okay. We're here to serve, and I wanted to give an update on everything that's happening. And then I wanted to give you the floor to share what's happening on your end. How are you going through all this? I know it's a challenging time for everyone. So I am going to put Karen as a co-host in case there is an alert. Make co-host so that you'll be able to let people in.
How are you? Yeah.
How many registered for
How are you
today?
doing there?
I'm going to give you all the information. We have around 10 people that registered for today.
Okay.
So let's see. And if not, then we'll have a one or two. But I'm going to let you let people in. Karen, do you see
I got it. I'm
people
on it.
coming in?
I'm on it.
Perfect, perfect. So, like I was saying, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick update. We're going to start from the more general, and then I'll talk about myself as well. We'll talk also about the business aspect because, as you know, our global community is a community of entrepreneurs. So we all have businesses, me included. And so I'll talk a little bit about how I'm managing with my business in those difficult times. And then we will open it up to everyone who can share your perspective from where you are and also what's going on with your business. We'll have the possibility to have a Q&A if you need help, if you need advice, if you need support, if you want to share what you do in your business. This is not a networking call. We have those networking calls once a month. But of course, if we want to talk about our business, we can, of course. So let me start. I know that we have people that are not from Israel. We also have people from Israel on the call. So as you know, Israel started a war, and well, they didn't start the war. I have to be careful how I'm using my words. Attacked Iran last Thursday, but actually it was a war that was declared a long time ago, and was last Thursday. I don't have the exact numbers, but I know that there are at least 24 people who died here in Israel and hundreds of wounded and thousands that are without a home. And as you all know, last night America attacked Iran's nuclear facility. So that's also, I decided to do this Zoom before it was, that was the attack, but it was just like another reason why everything is like really blown out of proportion here.
Did you guys know? Did you guys know that Israel was gonna attack Iran?
Well, not, I mean, in the news, no one personally knew, but everyone was talking about it as something
Okay.
that could happen. Just for us to like remember things that are important to remember. First of all, Iran has been calling for the destruction of the state of Israel for years, and it also has threatened to attack America. So I'm saying this because it's important. Some people might be, outside of Israel and just seeing or hearing other people saying, "Oh, it's Israel, that attacked," and we have to remember that there were threats for years and years and years on the destruction of the Jewish state, and also it's important to remember that a nuclear Iran was we can say was today, an existential threat not only to Israel but also to all the moderate Arab world in the Middle East and to the whole world. So I know that last week we had people that were saying that Israel was criticized, and people were like saying, "Yeah, Israel is bad for doing this." And I think it's a very important. Again, I'm not giving you a history lesson here, just putting the context. And if you want to learn more about it, then there are really places where you can hear more about what has been happening between Iran and Israel. Of course, the consequences are that here in Israel, at least, we have some people who don't have a shelter in their home, like myself. So I've been going back and forth to my friend's house, and today I'm in the center of the country. I've moved to my aunt's place where she has a room for me and she has a shelter. Last night we were 8 people in the shelter. Tonight we might be 11 because her kids also came. So it's important to know that not everyone has a shelter in Israel. There are public shelters, but then you have to either wake up in the middle of the night, or if you have small kids, a lot of people just stay and sleep during spend the whole night in the public shelter. So it is really a challenge. Of course, as you've seen probably in the news, buildings, hospitals, universities are being destroyed in a way that we never saw this here in Israel. The casualties, we have to say, are less than it could have been if people didn't go to shelters. It could have been really like the numbers would have been much, much higher. Kids don't have school, so parents have to stay home, and most people work from home. Like they work remotely unless they are called like they, I don't know how you say it in English, chiyuni, like you have to be like essential, like you have to be essential for hospitals or food, and then they're allowed to work, but everybody else is not working, and we're all afraid to leave the house. I myself was going to leave on Friday to go be with my daughter who is in the south, who is actually next to Gaza, and it's quiet there because, well, not in Gaza. Gaza, there's a war there, but next to Gaza, it's quiet. There are no missiles there. And I was going to travel with a car and drive for an hour and a half. And just before I left, there was a siren and there was a big attack. And so I decided not to go because being on the road can be really, really dangerous. So of course there are consequences, and there are also consequences for Jews around the world, especially in America now, where I'm sure that everyone is afraid that Jews will be blamed for dragging America into a war. And so that's also why we're having those calls, so that we can also give you information and also give you another perspective on what's going on our side in Israel. Having said all that, people who understand the complexity of the situation know that Israel is doing what needs to be done. Not everyone understands that, but the people that do understand that, and I'm hearing more and more voices from European countries, or even if you go on social media, I'm sure if you are, I saw, I don't know if you saw, but I saw many Iranians who are coming out and saying that, they're happy that Israel is doing what it is doing. And so the people that understand the history and the complexity of the situation know that Israel is doing what needs to be done. I've seen videos of Iranian people going down the street and dancing with the flag of Israel because they're so grateful of what Israel is doing. So again, there's the mainstream media who's going to say something, and then there's what's happening in reality. And it's very important to know that what's happening on the street is not necessarily what's happening in the news. On the side of Israel, we're witnessing more resilience and more unity that we ever saw. And I could even say that it's even more than after October 7th, because after October 7th, we were the victims. And today we are, I'm going to say, cautiously proud. I don't want to say we're proud because this is still a war, but there is caution here. And we know that what we're doing is we're really making sure that our kids and our grandkids and the state of Israel can, continue to live. So as far as I'm concerned, I told you that I would go from general to more specific, and then I'll give you the floor to be able to say also where you're at and what's going on with you. So like I said, I'm staying by my aunt. I'm very lucky to have a place where I can stay. Of course, it's not home. So of course, it has its disadvantages, but I consider myself very lucky to have a shelter and not to have to go down in the street to get to be safe. Like I said, my daughter is in the south, and my partner is still stuck in France. So you hear those stories everywhere here in Israel. People are being scattered, people are being stuck abroad, people are not together. So it is challenging, but we feel like if we have a shelter, that's already a good thing. I'm going to say a word about my business, and then I'll let you share where you're at. So I'm going to say that people that have known me even before COVID know that I've actually even before COVID decided to put a challenge on myself and put my whole business online. So my clients were not face to face anymore. My systems, everything was online. My teams, and then when COVID happened, I didn't know that COVID was going to happen, but I was already on Zoom for a while some people were just discovering Zoom. And then since COVID, we've had a few, unfortunately, reasons why we had to go online, whether it's the war or October 7th. I've also been traveling. And today, I have to say that having my business online has been really life saving. It really makes a whole difference that I can work from my aunt, or even if I was in France, or if I was everywhere else in the world. So I'm happy to talk about that if that's something that you're interested in. I would say that mindset and belief system, and everything that you usually do in your business to be able to be strong and to have the right belief system, the right mindset. That is the challenge for me at least, and I'm sure that it's the same for other people. And that's why having those calls is also a way for us to be together and not be alone. So I'm happy to, as I'm a business coach, as you probably all know. If you don't know it, then I'm a business coach, and I'm happy to stay on and to answer any questions or to help you figure out things, talk about mindset or systems or sales. And of course, if you have something that you want to share on this call around your business, then you're welcome to do so. So that was my introduction. Why don't we start with you, Karen, because you're used to that. But tell us where you're at and how is all this taking you, like what's been happening, since last week or since yesterday. Uh,
So I'm in Paris, but I'm American, Simi. Um, I've been here for 26 years and I give a Jewish tour and I'm in the Jewish neighborhood 6 times a week. And I've never been, every time there's terrorism here, my business goes like this. And then the Jews spend money and come back to Paris, and then they're scared, and then they come back, and it's like this. I am getting spillover of Jews that were on their way to Israel this summer and can't go. So now they're here instead. So at least they've found someplace else to go, you know. Um, and I am booked every single day on this Jewish tour. So I
wow.
have not had one cancellation yet. I don't know if there's, should they be more full? Am I having less tourists? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to analytics, it's hard to tell because of the way things go.
And it's only Jewish people that are booking the Jewish tour?
98%,
Right.
you know. I wish that could change. You know what I mean? Because, again,
Yeah.
it's a big reiteration for us, but it is what it is.
And
But
what do you
something,
see in France? What's going on in France? Like what's
well,
the
I mean, again, every Uber I take, it's a Muslim guy, and we end up talking, and we get along great, and he has tons of Jewish friends, and you know what I mean. There's always that dynamic of everybody tells me to be terrified, but the actual reality is not terrifying. But the
okay.
other day, so I have my high on, okay, and I don't wear a star because I don't want to just get into an altercation, and I sat at a restaurant with Allison the other day for lunch, and we've never been there. And the waiter comes over and right away he says, "What is that?" And my heart just, I th almost wanted to throw up. And I was like, "It's my dog." And
Oh.
then he showed me a tattoo of a chai. And I said, "Well, why didn't you start with that?" You know what I mean? Like, why did you make me nervous? It was kind of like, was he nervous that I didn't know what this was and it is a dog? And did he want to find out if I knew? And then when he showed me the tattoo, I was like, oh, my brother, you know what I mean? So I wish he would have started with that because that was the first time I literally felt like I was going to throw up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was weird. And that's never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've cleaned off the synagogue where they did all the graffiti. I'm sure you all saw here. But the wall of the Holocaust Museum, which is the wall of Gentiles, they sprayed, the green paint. They didn't write anything, they just sprayed. But because those are inlaid names,
Right. So the green stays.
well, they washed as much as they could, but they can't keep. I said, what happened? He's like, if we clean more, we're going to take the letters out,
Oh,
because it's probably gold inlay or silver, or whatever,
right.
and they were like, if we scrub it more, then if we power wash, it's going to, so now that's going to be there forever and
Oh,
everybody can see it. I have to talk about it. I'm just, oh, it's hard, hard.
yeah, it's hard. Thank you for sharing, Karen. And
Mm.
Simi, why don't you tell us what's going on for you? This is your first time, so you can tell us where you're from and what you do in your business. And like I said, we usually have monthly meetups where we have many more people. This is just like a spur of the moment support meetup just to, give support to the community. But tell us what you do and where you're
Sure. Sure. First of all, thank you so much for this call. And you should continue to be safe. And so I'm in New Jersey physically, but my heart
Where?
and
Where,
soul are in
Jersey?
Israel. I am in Englewood, New Jersey. It's Bergen
Okay.
County. So my nephew actually just went into training in the IDF. My brother and sister-in-law were trying to get back home. Now they're like on their way to Jordan and then Cyprus and then
oh,
Jordan, then Qatar, then London, and then home. I'm like, you sure you want to go into Jordan and Qatar? But they have like security and all of that. I have a lot of friends who moved to Israel, family, and my son was supposed to go on birthright on Thursday. Obviously, that was postponed. A bunch of his friends who were like on the last trip. They went into Cyprus. And yeah, I'm very, very deeply connected to Israel, and I'm an empath and I feel everything. And I'm there with you. So I know not physically, but my whole house shook this morning with thunder, and me and my son were like, oh my goodness. And it really sounded like I've never heard that before. And then I said to him, like, wow, this is what they're going through in Israel every single night, except people are trying to, you know, it's a different situation. So the devastation and everything, I'm very no politics aside, but I think, it's great what we did last night, the US, and I don't think anybody knew. It was very quiet and quick, and yeah, just hopefully everybody could be free soon in Iran and in Israel. There will be peace, and that's my prayer. So
thank you. Thank you, Simi. Tell us, what do you do in your
yeah,
business?
yeah. Oh, and I just want to say
How did you
before
find
that,
this group?
She's on
oh,
the
so I'm on the Facebook and I get tagged, and then I just looked at the tag this time and I'm like, you know what? That looks really interesting. And I'd love to come to the networking call as well. And before I get into what I do, I just want to say also, since October 7th, been feeling a lot of, there's just been like the anti-Semitism has been on the rise here. I understand the wearing the necklace.
yeah,
I have a Magen David, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna put on my chai because it's not as um, obvious. But all my grandparents were in the Holocaust, so I have, like, I don't want to hide anything, but it's especially when you go into New York City, it's just a different time, and yeah, so that's that.
yeah,
Um, and I'm just waiting for like the backlash here, of, like what we did and things to get worse, and everyone's blame Israel again.
yeah.
So
Are you
that is,
like surrounded? Do you have like a Jewish community around you? Do you
I
have Jewish friends?
I have a Jewish community. I have friends for sure, but there's also a lot more in the city, New York City. But there has been also here, like in the next town in Teaneck, there's been a lot of protests and things like that. So yeah,
So just so
it's
you
definitely
know,
disturbing.
We used to have not until not too long ago a chapter in New Jersey, and now we moved
Mhm.
the chapter to New York.
Oh,
And they do meet like virtually once a month because people, even if it's New York, it's people that are from different places. The idea is that they want to be close to each other so that they can meet if they want. If you want to meet for a coffee, you're not like California, New York. You have like
mhm.
an
Oh, that's great.
appetite. So we'll be able to put you in touch if you come to the next global meetup. We'll be able to hook you up with the with Mara, who is the New York chapter leader.
Yeah, that's
Tell us what you
amazing.
do in your business.
Sure, sure. So some tools that really help me and that I do with my clients are I'm a somatic spiritual life coach, and I bring in breath work, meditation, visualization, EFT tapping if needed. I'm also a writer. I bring in some journaling
Mm,
and a holistic approach to mindset and to just regulating the nervous system. So that's my passion, to work with women to be able to do that. And I was going to put something in like the volunteer swords Facebook page. I don't know if you're all in that. There's a lot of people on there.
you're
Swords for
It's
Iron,
called
maybe
Sword
it
of
is called.
Iron. Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I was gonna put something in there if like anybody wants a Zoom session, a volunteer, a free session. But I just want to help as much as I can. And it's really helpful to be able to, there's so much anxiety right now and just to be able to regulate. So
Definitely. After October 7th, we had those support meetups, we had experts like yourself.
hmm
Uh,
hmm
that and we would put experts in different breakout rooms, and everyone would go and this time we didn't do that yet, but it could be that we'll do it. Hopefully, the war won't last so long, but if it continues, we might also have a Zoom where we have different people helping in different areas, whether it's for business or for mindset or for coaching or for just giving the support. Because, like I said, this is really what's needed right now. Really, it's really where we need the help. Great. Well, thank you for joining, Simi. We'll continue to
yeah.
go around, and we'll stay at the end if anyone wants to share, anything more business-like. I'm happy to answer any questions or to help. And whoever has another expertise, is welcome to also share. Sharon, what's going on with you? Since what about your foot? Are you still in a cast?
I'm in a cast. I was out and about, Simi, doing all kinds of things on Yom Yerushalayim. I started well, I guess it was a blog back then, and a website, The Real Jerusalem Streets, because I found that what the mainstream media was reporting was not what I was seeing every day in Yerushalayim. We've been here almost 19 years. I have a press pass now, freelance journalist. Only the next day after Yom Yerushalayim, where I got my over 11,000 steps each day, I fell and busted my foot. So I am sitting here at home. My FOMO has gone down. There were so many things planned in June and the beginning of July. And as they're all canceled, I'm becoming more semi-regua, relaxed, because I wouldn't be going anywhere anyway. So I'm sitting here with my foot up. It's pretty ugly. And hopefully on Thursday, I have to hop back in my wheelchair to the orthopedist, and we'll find out whether I'm healing or I need surgery. But in the
Sharon, do you
meantime,
have a shelter at home? I forgot to ask you.
That
well,
was
we
my
have.
question.
Thankfully, we moved 3 years ago from a big duplex with a million steps. I'm exaggerating, 45 to the front door and 17 to the second floor. We moved to this minuscule little place, which is much more efficient. So we don't have a shelter inside our apartment, but since we're on ground level, I even got there all by myself this morning. Wasn't quite sure where my husband was. It turns out he was in the shower. So we got there this morning, and I finally, after 3 years, got to know the neighbors. So I
Oh,
spend most of my day trying to find positive things.
Yeah, well,
Keeping busy. I still finished the book I have to review and something to write. I used to do, Simi, Heather, Karen knows I used to do walking tours in, I'm not a tour guide, but a photographer to do photography spots. I love doing bar and bas mitzvah kids and showing them around and just encouraging them, giving them tips. I had one bas mitzvah girl and her mother come back 8 years later. And when the girl was 20, ready off to go to a police academy, they wanted to do the tour again around the Bell Park from a different angle. So, yeah, so I've been around
thank you,
since
Sharon.
COVID, and I'm
Thank you.
still here.
Thank you for being here, Sharon. Heather, can you hear us? Are you here? Do you want to share with us where you are? What's going on with you? Not sure if she's hearing us because you're muted in case you didn't know.
Heather, are you here? Let me see.
Last week we had 20 people, right? How many
Yeah.
people? We have 20 or 25. And I was hesitating on doing another one, but I figured you never know if someone wants to share. And you see, Simi, it's good that we did that because that way you got to know us. Karen and Sharon have been with the Global Network since the beginning, which is around COVID, which is like 5 years now, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I consider
2020,
Karen
right?
one of my best friends that we've never met in real life. It's
Wow.
like way up there one day.
Yeah. So,
My question is,
yes,
so okay, so you don't have a shelter in your apartment, so you have
yeah.
to now stay at somebody else's house. When you go to the shelter in your building, or is it a house?
Well, my aunt has a private house, so she has on the ground floor she has a room that is used as a shelter. So either you have the shelter of the building, which is usually when there's no war used as a place to park things and bikes and like so there was a lot of people that started cleaning up all those shelters from the building because it was really crowded. But some people that have newest building they have their shelter inside their house and they use it as a regular room, except that you have a very
But how
heavy.
safe, if missiles coming, how safe is that shelter?
It
So I'll tell
has
you,
been.
I'll tell you what they say. I'm not, an expert,
It's
but
been, if you look at the pictures of these big towers in Tel Aviv and you see the list, you could see the shelters. They're
no, but what
reinforced.
they say now with those missiles who are really really powerful because it's half a ton of explosives. They say that if you get the missile on the shelter, there
They,
is a chance that you can, some
yes.
people were in the
Two
shelter and
people have been killed in a sheltered room because it was a direct hit.
I read
These
it, but if
new
you
these new missiles are 200 times stronger TNT than before, and the cluster bomb spread. But for the most part, anybody in those reinforced rooms has at most been injured. A lot of the injury is glass that shatters.
Yeah, it's what's happening is that you have the parts of the missiles, not the missile itself. So the
Right.
parts of the missile that is broken down, and that if that hits a shelter, if you're inside a shelter, you're fine. But if you have a direct hit, that's a chance. The probability is a very, very, very low. But if there is a direct hit, then it could be that. Also, you have different years. Like some shelters are older than new ones, so there are different levels of safety, I
Yeah,
guess.
a friend of mine's brother's friend, their house was destroyed in Tel Aviv last night, and the dad and the daughter went out, and I think the son got injured, lightly injured, but injured in the bomb shelter.
Yeah.
The whole built house is destroyed. But I do have a question. I went with my girlfriend for coffee this morning. We were talking about this. So, um, they Fardo, is that how you say it? Fardo, went up in flames. Um, But then there was something on Jewish breaking news. I don't know if you saw that they showed they showed an image from on top of a truck that they think that 2 days before they moved the nuclear weapons somewhere else. Did you guys see that?
No, what I
Okay, so
know is
I'm
that
like,
Ferdo was below Earth. Ferdo was complicated because it was
right, but
below
right,
sea level. So
right, but then they found that they said 2 days before, they just came out with this morning, that 2 days before they have an image with a truck, a cargo, and they think that Iran moved the nuclears before. So I'm like, if that's
They've
true,
been
then you can
doing
get on
a
that.
lot of AI fakes,
Mhm.
so I would be careful before
Yeah,
I believe
yeah. On
anything.
Jewish breaking news, they would put it, really?
They give it a, I don't want to say a grain of salt, but be careful
Yeah,
because there's
I
a
hope
lot
that's not
of
true.
misinformation. Didn't
Yeah.
read them all, but the fakes are just unbelievable how many there
Yeah,
are.
I've seen fakes, not on Jewish breaking news, but I have seen fake
well,
stuff.
if you have a link, you're welcome to put it in the chat. And Sharon here is a journalist, so she has
Okay.
friends.
What I put there
Okay.
was a
I'm hoping
blog
it's not.
that I did in 2013. This was before 15 and Obama and all that stuff. And I still say now, and I say them with the Europeans, it's all about your business, Natalie. It's all about the money. It was like
Sure.
follow the money back in 2013. They wanted to get into Iran and get the money from the oil and all the stuff. But the nuclear
Okay,
stuff,
Cindy,
it's been
we have
going on for years. Most people just like woke up all of a sudden. But this situation has been developing for decades.
Yeah, of course.
yeah. But in any case, Simi, if you want to put the link of what you saw, we can definitely check it out. But
You say it was in breaking news, there's a truck over Fordo, huh?
Karen,
I
you
Here,
actually had Fordo in my blog that I wrote years ago, but it turned out when I went to look at it more recently, the link was dead. So I took out that whole line, but I still remember when she talked about it. It was one of those things like this was the Iranian expert, and it was like gobbledygook. I was so upset.
that might be a great idea if Sharon, if you could compile, because you're not doing anything because of your foot, compile a nice list of and put it on the page of
shared it.
what news we can trust. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
I just shared it, by the way. I just shared it.
Okay,
But
I'll go
I
look
didn't
at it.
mean to I didn't mean to start
Oh,
um,
it's on Telegram.
it's on WhatsApp, on Jewish breaking news on WhatsApp, and I also saw it on their Instagram. It's just like
well,
Yeah, no,
Sharon, why don't
I've
you
been getting their stuff since the beginning. I'll go look for it.
yeah, why don't
but
you take
anyway,
yeah, that's fine. No, I mean, listen, we never know what question gets stuck. Sometimes it's small things like you want to know, for example, Karen, like, how do you manage in the shelter? Like, so I think it's also good. I know last week we had people who also were very emotional about where was she from? Or was it San Francisco?
Philadelphia.
No,
Well,
San
San
Francisco. Yes, she
Francisco.
was from San Francisco and she started crying because of the protest and how she didn't have, anyone that she could share, what was going on. And I think it's so important to have those, even if we're not a news channel and we're not a source of information, like we're not gonna, of course, have any new information that you cannot see online. But I think that it's important to have those conversations. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy, we're happy to whoever.
Simi, I just put Heather, Karen. I just put this minute because I was looking for Jewish Brain News. The Mata just put out their latest update. If you want to see the
That's,
numbers.
And have you
yeah, I was
ever,
24.
since you both have been living in Israel, is this the scariest or has it been bad for you already? Like, have you been running to the shelter like this in your life? Has this happened?
No, this is really bad.
This is the
I mean, the
worst.
shelter before with the Houthis, we used to have those
Yeah.
missiles. It was like go down.
right.
It was almost like now that I think about it, it was almost like a joke. Like it was,
Yeah.
go down and sometimes we're like, ah, too tired to go, whatever. because we also saw that the casualties and the damage, we didn't see them, but now when you see what you see, and everyone says that, on the one hand, it's good news. I mean, it's not 100% good news, but they say that anyone who got injured or killed was outside of a shelter, except for those three that were attacked with a direct hit, which is, again, the probability is very, very low. So if you listen to the instructions, if you listen when you have a phone alert, and you say, okay, I have 10 minutes to get ready, and you do it, you should be okay. But it is scary because you hear the booms. I mean, Simi was talking about the thunder. It's really like it's big booms.
Well,
And
at what point will the Israeli government say, okay, you guys, if you have family in other countries, maybe you need to go for this?
no one wants to go.
Nobody wants to
Nobody's
go.
going.
No one
Nobody
wants
I
to
know
I
is going.
love Israeli people. That's why I love
No one
Israel.
wants to go. And someone said, I don't remember who, I like to quote, but someone said, the planes that are being rescued from
Mhm.
outside of Israel towards inside, it's
They're
rescue.
excited to go back. Yeah.
The rescue is on the
Mhm,
way to Israel, not on the way out.
mhm.
They're all
So,
clapping. They're all excited to go home.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's just that these missiles are much stronger, that we've all kind of woken up and said, okay, we have to take account. The others were but we get the 5 minute warning. I don't know about you, Natalie, but I like go to the bathroom, make sure. I even put my watch on this morning, so I kept it away all day because they was like, "Oh, it's going to be bad all day." And so far, nothing's happened. It still could. They get started in the middle of the night,
How do
but
they know? How do they know when these psychos are just going to start shooting
Ah,
stuff?
that it's a long
that's
time
the
till it gets here
technology.
from Iran. They have time.
Yeah,
I
that's.
I actually I actually have to go, but I want to thank you so so
Thank
much for
you,
this.
Simi.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
And
you. Be
you
well.
too. Thank you.
Bye bye. And the
Bye.
next global meetup is on when is it? On July 2nd. So save the date
Okay.
and
Okay, I'm gonna note that.
you.
Okay, stay safe. Thank
Bye
Are,
bye.
you.
Thank
are,
you.
are there toilets in all of your shelters? No, there's not.
There's one in
But
mine.
you
I
have,
have a really good one. I should go take a good picture of it, not full of people.
I
I
wish people would do that and let
On
us know.
October 8th, I went and checked myself, 23, and it's got a bathroom working toilet and a sink and electricity. And I put in toilet paper and towels and soap. And now somebody put in, well, I'll put for you guys the picture, and they put comfortable things. And the people, it's a very small building, and they're two older women who walk down the stairs, and I scoot in on my scooter, which is so cool, and plop, and it's like they saved my chair for me, this big red armchair. Like I plop in it, and they all smile and smirk because they're old ladies, and I'm the one sitting there like an old lady, and they're walking the stairs. I make them feel good.
but Karen, you have to understand the shelters inside the house look like a regular room. It has nothing special. Like it's a kid's room or
No,
the
no, I know that, but I'm
room.
saying in our building, it's not a mamad, it's a miklat, and it's
I
on
understand.
ground level, and
I,
it's really
I
good. So it
know
depends.
that.
My
I
friends
know
just built it.
that.
My friends who
I'm
came
giving other.
My friend who came today just remodeled a house, and they put in their mamad, in their place, the toilet and the shower, even in the like that's how they designed it. A lot of people, Simi, a lot of people put,
What I'm
certainly
trying
in
to
the south,
explain to Sharon, what I'm trying to explain to Karen is that there are shelters that are for the whole building, and most of the new
Right.
apartments have shelters inside the
in the
apartment.
room. And a
That's
lot of places they use
so.
that
Once again,
room for
Karen,
the youngest children so they don't have to move. Like in Sderot, they've been doing this for decades, way at the beginning. So the mamad, the room, the reinforced a private house was the youngest children's, so they wouldn't have middle of the night. That's what my daughter has in their building here in Jerusalem, and then everybody else piles in when there's a siren. So
Okay.
they're different options.
so you can have a shelter in a building, you can have a shelter in an apartment, and you can have a public shelter that is for the whole neighborhood.
Well,
So
so if the buildings are all high, for me, it seems like it would be safer that for everybody to be underground.
that's what it is. The shelter.
No,
Shelter,
not necessarily.
1 second, Sharon. 1 second. I'm trying to explain to Karen. The shelters of the buildings are below ground. Okay.
Okay.
But when you have a building that has been built with shelters in each apartment, what you have is you have a column of shelters,
Okay.
okay, which is like almost like that's why they say the staircase, right? It's a very
Reinforced.
it's reinforced, and then the whole building is built around it. So, for
Okay.
example, my building where I live is an old building, and so what they do now is that because Israel doesn't have the means or the money to like rebuild shelters for every building,
Right.
so they have agreements with contractors. And so the contractors say, okay, I'm going to build a new building with shelters, and I'm going to keep a floor for me. And so the government is allowing the contractor to build that extra the whole building, and they get the floor for them. So it's like a kind of a deal that they make an investment. And so my building is going to go with that whole new construction next year, for example. So for 3 years, my building, I'm not going to be able to live in my house because they're destroying the whole building, rebuilding it with this shelter, column in the middle, and building the apartments around it. Okay, so that's why you have different levels of shelters, but not
Okay.
every building has that.
All right. So what scares me about the under comprehension of this is that if the missiles are getting worse and worse and bigger, and they're creating more horrible crap, if they start to build them where they're like the tower, like the World Trade Center, where and they go down, then everybody's gonna be trapped under there.
That's what I
No.
was trying to say to Natalie before. In Tel Aviv, those people are sheltering in underground parking lots. And some of them are good and some of them are terrible. Because if you're stuck in an underground parking lot without an exit, you are in big trouble. So
Right.
there's different, like there are different shelters in places, there are different options in Tel Aviv, and some of them are mismarked. Some of them say, oh, we're safe, and they're not. So you have to be careful in the underground parking lots that you
Ugh.
don't. Like our shelter in this building is ground level. I can hobble there on my scooter, but there's a window on the far side that if something happens, we could get out the window theoretically.
But
Yeah,
Karen, you have to realize that Israel is the only country
I know.
that has
I
so
know.
many shelters per
That has
habitant.
to do this.
No, that's something else. I didn't mean that. I meant that it's the only country that has so many shelters, meaning like again, the 24 people that died are because they were except for 3, so 21, okay, are because they were not in the shelter, which means that everyone who is listening to so it's amazing, meaning like when I say amazing, of course we would have rather not have missiles, okay? But if we look at it from, the all the destructions of the buildings that we see would have been not, I think it would have been thousands and thousands of dead. Like it
Yeah,
would have been like so it's I heard someone say it's a miracle.
it's a
You know,
miracle.
it's a
It's
miracle.
so
That
crazy.
that's actually the blog that I put out just this afternoon. I did on shelters. When I was there in December, I took a picture of in the new Hadassah Karen, when they built the new hospital, the lower parking lot is now the operating room. And I took a picture of it empty because we had the Hanukkah party down there, and that's how I started my blog. And along the road, when we came home last week, you saw the big trucks with the big individual shelters on them going around to different places. So you just justified what I posted. And the Tower of David actually opened on Thursday because each of their galleries is an individual shelter. And as long as they didn't have more than 30 people in each room, they were legal. But today, because of the new level of threat, they also can't. Like everybody's home now, not just me with
And do you,
Right.
some of you, I mean, plenty of these rooms have no refrigerators, no electricity.
No, but we don't stay there more than half an hour, Karen.
right
Okay.
now. Hopefully.
Yeah, but even like it's what happens is we get a message saying that the system knows that there is a missile that left Iran. So then we have like depending on the time 10 minutes or 20 minutes to go into the room. So like Sharon said, you have time to go to the bathroom. I have time to put on like if I
I'm
have
on my bathrobe.
time to put on, to do a few things. Then you go. It used to be only 10 minutes. Now the most that it has been is what, half an hour,
Yeah, about.
40 minutes?
Well, today they were anticipating some huge crises. So I put on my watch, I got dressed. Thankfully, I got my shower. And in my scooter bag, I put a box of chocolates to share with everybody in the building. So I'm just going to leave it there for good luck.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
Didn't
right?
need it yet.
you get organized. But Karen, I want to tell you that, I mean, of course, it looks, really bad, but from the inside, it's less worse than it looks like, really.
Yeah,
I
but I
want
mean, it's for a certain age human. But these kids, this has got to be fucking kids up. Pardon my French.
No, because they're actually sleeping. I mean, in my case, my cousin has two kids, and she's sleeping through it because it's her room. So some of them not. You're right. Some of them have to go sleep there the whole night. You sure? Of course, there is some trauma. I'm not trying to, downgrade the whole thing. Of course, there is trauma, and the kids are asking about it. Yes, we
and
are.
right after I published, the National Library sent out. They've got all these online activities for free to keep the kids busy.
I
So
said,
there's lots
which,
of people trying to keep
yeah,
things going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, you're right. I mean, it's not a walk in the park. It is
It's
war.
not fun, but
No, it's not fun. But I always
sometimes it's
say,
easy. Having had family in Israel through various crises, it's easier to be there than
yeah,
be on the outside watching,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
And we were all last week when everything really started. We had this wedding July 2nd that finished at 2:30 in the morning, and the rockets started at 3. So at least my whole family was together for a few hours till one son got called up early Friday morning, but everybody else was stayed for Shabbat Sheva Bracha, which turned out to be the best scenario under horrible
right, you
conditions.
guys are making, and I'm seeing a lot of the videos, and then I'm just seeing the horrible ones. There's too much, and
That's why in my piece I put two videos. One is a new thing at the Tower of David, and at the end of there's a night show. There are two night shows. One of them is David, and it turns out that the David scene of war has a lot of views, and the one with the pictures and stuff, like there's so many artistic renditions of David, King David over the years. It's amazing. I decided to go for the Ragua relaxing music and leave the war stuff because there's too much war stuff going on. Karen's getting affected by it. So
oh,
look at my blog, open my email,
I opened
just
up
two
everything. No,
minutes and you'll relax with some art.
I do feel like, and I'm scared more and more. I mean, that every single day I'm like, I, there's just so many psychos out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the
That's
same
true.
fear of being like shot on the streets of France. You know what I mean? But I just don't know how. It's a very scary. I've never felt so scared.
Yeah. I mean, I can only tell you that um, I can see people here being scared. Like some people are crying, and I think that it's also, of course, like it's a difficult time, but it's also a choice, like to decide, okay, until I'm really hit, there's no point in panicking because if the people that panic, they're wasting their energy, basically, so
Yeah.
you just keep it together and you see
I'm
everyone else and
stuck
you
with this stupid foot care and I can't do
I
nothing.
know, I
But I've
know.
got another Zoom at 7, so I'm gonna open the window and Simi Peters, who's speaking, is a real expert and not listen to all the wackadoodles, the people
I would
not that
love a
anybody
list
can
of who's
predict.
good to listen to and who's good to follow and who's not.
Follow JNS. Go to their website. They do good
put the
stuff.
link in the chat. put the link in the chat.
Jewish National Fund.
No. Jewish, here, I'll get it for you. That's the only one I follow. Well, because they publish my stuff. Let me get you the website. It's really simple, and I trust them a lot. Oh, okay, Yahoo. Wait a minute. I'll send it to you later, Karen. I gotta go get ready for my next Zoom.
Okay, my
Be
dears. Well, thank
well.
you. And we will be in touch. Hopefully we won't have another Zoom next
Mwah.
Sunday.
All right.
Hopefully we won't need this.
Hey,